It is one of the most baffling experiences in modern dating. You meet someone, and the connection feels electric. The text messages are frequent, filled with witty banter, genuine curiosity. He makes you feel seen, heard, desired. He plans future dates, talks about places he wants to take you, seems genuinely excited about where things are headed. Then, almost overnight, the energy shifts. The good morning texts stop. His replies become shorter, taking hours or even days to arrive. The warmth you felt is replaced by a confusing, distant coolness. One of the most common reasons a man pulls away is a deep-seated fear of vulnerability. In the early stages of dating, everything is light and exciting. The focus is on fun, attraction, the thrill of the chase. It's a low-risk environment. However, as the connection deepens and genuine feelings begin to develop, the stakes get higher. He might start to realize that he really likes you, and this realization can be terrifying. For many men, being vulnerable, opening up their heart and allowing someone to see their true, imperfect self can feel like a monumental risk. He may worry that if he lets you in completely, he could get hurt. This fear doesn't mean he doesn't like you. In fact, it often means the opposite. The stronger his feelings become, the more he has to lose, and the more his internal alarms might start to sound. This is when he might instinctively hit the brakes. For example, after a particularly intimate and wonderful weekend together where you both shared personal stories, he might suddenly become quiet and less available the following week. He is not necessarily rejecting you. He is retreating to a place that feels safer while he processes these new, intense emotions. It is his way of managing a feeling of exposure that he finds overwhelming. The pressure to be strong and emotionally contained is a powerful social script for many men. They are often taught from a young age that showing emotional softness is a sign of weakness. When a relationship starts to demand genuine emotional openness, it can conflict directly with this lifelong conditioning. He might not even be consciously aware of why he is pulling back. All he knows is that things are getting too real, and his gut reaction is to create distance to regain a sense of control over his own emotions. This is a battle he is fighting within himself, and you have unfortunately been caught in the crossfire. Sometimes, a man's distance has nothing to do with the present moment and everything to do with his past. If he has been through a painful breakup, experienced betrayal, a history of difficult relationships, he may carry emotional scars that make him incredibly cautious. He might show strong interest at first, genuinely attracted and excited by a new connection. However, as the relationship moves from casual fantasy to potential reality, his old wounds can get triggered. The fear of history repeating itself can be powerful and paralyzing. This is often about unresolved trust issues, not a reflection of your trustworthiness. For instance, enthusiastic and attentive for weeks, mention future plans, booking a weekend trip a few months away, then he becomes evasive. He might say, "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," or "I'm not ready for something serious right now." This isn't necessarily a rejection of you. It's his protective mechanism warning him not to get too invested. His behavior is self-preservation. He may not know how to separate feelings for you from past pain. Emotional intimacy has led to heartbreak before, so he hesitates. He might even subconsciously sabotage the connection to avoid expected hurt. It's a sad, self-defeating cycle, one he must navigate on his own terms. You cannot heal his past for him, no matter how kind, patient, or understanding you are. If his past casts a long shadow over your connection, the best approach is gentle patience and observation. Create a safe space by listening without judgment if he shares his history. Ask, "It sounds like you've been through a lot," to show empathy without intruding. Protect your own heart. If his history keeps him unavailable, decide if you will wait or move on to someone emotionally ready now. Another significant reason a man might pull back is the feeling of being pressured by the speed of the relationship's progression. When a connection is new and exciting, it is easy to get caught up in the intensity. You might be dreaming of a shared future, talking about exclusivity, seeking deep emotional intimacy very quickly. While this enthusiasm is natural, for some people, moving too fast can feel overwhelming. It can feel less like a natural evolution and more like a race to a finish line he isn't yet sure he wants to cross. This perceived pressure can cause him to retreat to catch his breath and reevaluate. This doesn't mean he doesn't like you or that he doesn't want a relationship eventually. It simply means his internal timeline for intimacy and commitment is slower than yours. For example, after only a few dates, you start talking about meeting his family, integrating him into your core friend group. He might go quiet. These are significant steps that imply a level of seriousness he may not be ready for. From his perspective, he's just getting to know you. The sudden leap toward long-term commitment can feel like a heavy weight of expectation, causing him to instinctively pull away to lighten the load. The feeling of pressure is subjective and can be triggered by seemingly small things. It could be the frequency of your texts, the depth of your questions about his feelings, the assumption that you are now an official item before he has had a chance to process it himself. Some men need to feel that they are choosing to move forward at each stage, rather than being pulled along by the momentum of the other person's desires. When that sense of agency is lost, they often withdraw to reclaim it. The antidote is to consciously slow down the pace. If you notice him pulling away after intensity, take it as a signal to ease off the accelerator. Pull back a little yourself, not as a game, but to restore balance. Focus on enjoying the present moment with him without projecting into the future. Let him take the lead in escalating the pace. Show him you are content to let things unfold naturally, and you remove the pressure so he can move forward at his own speed. In some cases, a man's withdrawal is a conscious or subconscious test. He pulls away to see how you will react. This isn't always a malicious or manipulative game. Sometimes it comes from a place of his own insecurity. He wants to know if you are genuinely interested in him as a person, or if you are just attached to the attention he provides. He may be testing your emotional stability. Will you become anxious and chase him frantically, or will you remain steady and confident in your own life? Your reaction gives him information about your level of self-worth and emotional security. For example, he might cancel a date at the last minute with a vague excuse and then go quiet for a day or two. He is observing your response. If you bombard him with angry texts demanding an explanation or repeatedly ask if he is okay, you might be confirming a fear he has about you being needy or dramatic. On the other hand, a calm and simple response like, "No problem, hope everything is okay. Let me know when you'd like to reschedule," shows that you are not rattled. It communicates that while you are interested, your happiness does not depend on him. This behavior often stems from a man's desire to feel secure in a connection before he invests further. He wants to know that you have a full and happy life outside of him. A woman who remains poised and continues to thrive when he pulls back is incredibly attractive because it signals that she is with him by choice, not by need. This sense of security is crucial for many men before they are willing to fully commit their heart. His distance becomes a filter to see if you possess the emotional resilience necessary for a healthy, long-term partnership. The best way to pass this test is to not even see it as one. Instead, simply focus on being the high-value, emotionally stable person you are. When he creates distance, use that time to pour energy back into yourself. Go to the gym. Meet up with your friends. Make progress on a passion project. Don't sit by the phone waiting for him to come back. When he does re-engage, be warm and receptive, but don't pretend like his absence meant nothing. You can calmly communicate your preference for consistency later, once the connection is re-established, showing that you have standards without creating drama. It is very easy to believe that his sudden distance is a direct commentary on you or the budding relationship. However, in many instances, his withdrawal has absolutely nothing to do with you. Life is complex and demanding, and he may be pulling away simply because he needs to channel his energy into other important areas. Stress from work, family obligations, financial worries, personal health issues can consume a person's mental and emotional bandwidth, leaving very little left over for nurturing a new romance. His silence may not be a rejection, but a necessary act of self-preservation. Think about it from his perspective. If he is facing a massive deadline at work, dealing with a sick parent, navigating a difficult situation with a friend, he might not have the capacity to be the charming, attentive person he was when you first met. For example, he might have been very communicative, but then he becomes terse and unresponsive during the last week of the quarter at his high-pressure job. His focus is entirely on his professional responsibilities, and he may feel he has nothing to offer you in that moment. He might even pull away because he doesn't want to burden you with his stress. Many men are socialized to retreat and solve their problems alone. Instead of reaching out for support, their instinct is to go into their cave to work through the issue until they have a solution. They may feel that sharing their stress makes them appear weak, or that it would be unfair to bring negativity into a new and promising connection. So rather than explaining, "I'm incredibly stressed right now and can't be very present," he simply goes quiet, assuming it is the best way to handle things without complicating the relationship. This is often a failure of communication, not a failure of interest. The most supportive and high-value response in this situation is to offer understanding without intrusion. You can send one simple, low-pressure message such as, "Hey, I've noticed you've been quiet lately. Just wanted to say I hope everything is okay." This shows you care without demanding anything from him. It opens the door for him to share what's going on if he chooses to, but it doesn't put him on the spot. By keeping your own emotional balance and not making his stress about you, you demonstrate that you are a supportive partner, not another source of pressure in his life. This response can actually strengthen the connection in the long run. When faced with a man's confusing distance, the most important thing you can do is to anchor yourself in your own worth and respond with calm, deliberate grace. The immediate impulse might be to panic, to chase, or to demand answers. Those reactions almost always push him further away and erode your sense of peace. The first step is to breathe and resist the urge to create a narrative of self-blame. His behavior is a piece of information, not a final judgment on your value. Your power lies in how you choose to interpret and react to that information. Instead of focusing all your energy on him, turn that focus back onto yourself. This is the perfect time to invest in your own life. Reconnect with friends you haven't seen in a while, dive into a hobby you love, or throw yourself into a project at work. When you keep your life full and vibrant, you are not just distracting yourself. You are actively reminding yourself that your happiness is not contingent on one person's attention. This creates an aura of confidence and security that is inherently attractive. It shows that you are a whole person looking to share your life, not someone looking for a person to complete it. If you feel the need to communicate, do so with simplicity and clarity. Avoid long, emotional paragraphs dissecting the relationship. A single, calm question, as mentioned before, is often enough. "You seem a bit distant lately. Is everything all right?" This approach is non-accusatory and opens the door for an honest conversation. If he responds and offers an explanation, listen. If he remains distant or evasive, then his silence becomes your answer. You must be willing to accept that a lack of response is, in itself, a powerful response. It tells you that he is either unwilling or unable to meet you where you are. Ultimately, you must know when to walk away.